Yes, guys, and welcome back to the WM32 podcast. This week I'm joined by Wesley and by Joe. This week we are talking what's going on at Tottenham. So I'm joined by two Tottenham fans to discuss it. Where do you want to start, boys?
Very good question.
Yeah, probably the question that everybody wants to know at the minute. In short, what is going wrong at Spurs? I think everybody would love to know. I don't know what has happened, but something clearly isn't right at the football club, and it's now becoming a little bit concerning considering what we've had under Pochettino in his time as manager. Really, I don't know what you think, Joe.
That's the thing. It's completely different because this is the first proper rough patch we've had under Pochettino.
Yeah.
I know he didn't start off too well because I remember he was under pressure. Then when Harry Kane saved him, sort of thing. Do you remember like that?
Yeah.
You know. Since then, we haven't had a stage like this where we've conceded 10 goals in 4 days. So that's a worrying thing. It's like when we was under AVB, conceding goals at home massively.
Conceding left, right, and centre pretty much.
Yeah. A lot of people have brought comparisons from this stretch under Poch to the stretch of Jurgen Klopp in his last year at Dortmund, where it just exploded, and obviously they had a massive downturn. Obviously Spurs aren't as bad as what the last results have been. You look at the underlying numbers, you are actually not performing too badly.
You say that.
But the last couple, I think it's been brought up a lot because the last couple of games, obviously losing to Bayern and losing to Brighton within the space of 4 days.
You say things aren't that bad. I was at the Brighton game and that was pathetic. And that is the only word I can describe that performance. Absolutely pathetic. Nobody wanted the ball. Nobody wanted to go and win it back. Everyone's hiding. You've got Lamela for the first goal. Got to do more to stop the cross. Didn't get out there quick enough. And when he did, he obviously turned his back and then didn't actively go and try and stop the cross again. You've got Eric Dyer, who's all over the place. People are trying to say, well, it's his first game back. I mean, these boys don't come back, unfit. The way that they're conditioned these days. He was just all over the shop. The only person I can give any sort of credit for is Harry Winks, and not because of the performance, because the everybody and even the Bar Gazaniga, really, the subs come on and didn't really do anything. But Harry Winks was the only one that apologised to the fans afterwards. It looked like the players were forced to come over and just clap the fans. But like I say, Harry Winks was the only one that held his hands up and said, "Look, sorry," and clapped us. So that's the only positive I can take out of that Brighton performance was that, because it was that bad, and that looked to me like a set of players that had down tools and were looking to get a manager sacked. It wasn't that bad under AVB, and the players revolted against AVB and got him out.
Exactly. Like, you look at it, you've had stretches under Poch where people have said stuff like players have been forced to stay or whatever with the Tongan situation, or like if someone had come in and paid Alderweireld's buyout clause, I'm pretty sure he would have gone. Obviously, apparently Danny Rose was taken to Watford and refused to sign. Obviously, Ericsson openly admitting he wanted a new challenge at the start of the summer. That is 4 or 5 players there who are big players for you lot, who are rather being forced to stay or being forced out of the club. Does that affect the rest of the dressing room because they're such big players in that dressing room?
Well, it will, I think. And the big one for me, I think, the big two is Ericsson and Toby.
Yeah.
I think with Jan, it's a bit different because he's come out and saying, "Oh look, talks are ongoing with my contract," and there's progression there, and I believe that one will be signed.
Yeah.
I can't see him going, to be honest. Ericsson, obviously, I think everyone knew he would want to go even before he came out and said that. I think everyone was thinking, yeah, he's going to want to go. But then after you've said that, and you haven't got your move, you'd be thinking he'd be putting in 100%, trying to show people that he still cares about the club, he wants to do well, and also to get the clubs interested in him.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's a level of professionalism that a club would look for in signing a player.
I think for me it's the Danny Rose one's the interesting one because he came out in an interview a couple of years ago, or not last season, I think season before, and said, I know what I'm worth and all of this. I don't want to have to Google players that Tottenham have signed, but he's saying all of this, and he was injured.
Yeah.
So you know what you're worth, Danny Rose. You're worth nothing to us because we can't play you. If he was fit at that time, he'd have been gone.
Yeah.
Because you can't. I don't care if you are a fan of what's going on or not. To come out and said what you've said about your club that you are playing for is not right. So I think he would have gone, and then he's been in and out of the team ever since. Not really captured any consistent form. So no clubs have really been in for him. And I think that's why he hasn't got his move. I think with Eriksen the timing of him saying he wants a new challenge, from his point of view, couldn't have been any better. From a Spurs point of view, it couldn't have been any worse.
Yeah.
Because he's saying he wants a new challenge, and he's got a year left on his contract. So we're now stuck in a situation where he doesn't want to be here. He's running down his contract, and in the summer, no one come in for him. So realistically, we're going to have to cash in January. And then to try and replace him is going to cost an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Toby's 30.
Yeah.
Vertonghen's 32. Levy doesn't tend to extend players' contracts that long once they're 30.
A year rolling and.
Well, you say that obviously Sissoko's just got this 4-year contract and he's 30.
Yeah, don't know how that's come about, to
He's
be
a
honest.
magician.
But yeah, this is another strange thing because Tottenham now have 3 key players that are running down their contracts, but we can't afford to bin them off.
Yeah.
There's probably two teams in the whole of the Premier League that can afford to just bin players off, and that's City and Chelsea.
Yeah.
Tottenham aren't that strong enough yet to be able to just disregard a player and send it and train with the 23s.
Well, that's the thing. Like a lot of people come out and said it. Like Jan or Toby can have 4 or 5 bad games and still feel that they're safe because Davinson Sanchez doesn't look comfortable in a back 2 and he looks comfortable in a back 3 when he's got more support around him. And Foyth isn't back from injury yet, and Dyer isn't match fit. But yet again, at a professional level, you can come back from injury and basically be match fit pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So people are saying they can have 4 or 5 games they're resting on their laurels, and is that because of yes, this summer you had big investment in midfield with Tango, Ndombele coming in, Lo Celso. Obviously Lo Celso on a loan at the moment. Is this down to not spending the money earlier on a couple seasons ago to get in players to compete with these first team starters? Because we saw it across North London when Arsenal were in that 4th spot battling, and they didn't make progressive signings to battle with first team players, and players rest on their laurels and they become a much worse team.
I can see that point because obviously you need to feel challenged at times, and I guess some of them players don't feel challenged. They think, well, I'm a player of this calibre, I'm going to be playing week in, week out. And however, I think at the time, so obviously we was having a couple of really good seasons, you only want to bring in players who are going to improve the team.
On that side.
And if they aren't players who you want aren't available, we've done it before. We've panic buyed.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you look at when we sold Bale,
Yeah.
we panic buyed, didn't work. So I think that was in the back of our minds. Look, we don't want to go out and just buy anyone for the sake of buying people. If we can't get this player, this player, this player,
There's no
that's unless if I don't know some other worldie comes available. But obviously that didn't happen. I think that's my view on that personally.
That's a very good point. Also, obviously, Lloris is out injured for I'm not sure how long. A lot of people are saying the first goal because of he could have tipped it over the bar. Obviously, we've seen the expressions video where he's like saying just tip it or punch it clear. obviously there was the hangover from the Bayern Munich game, which we'll get onto in a little bit. Is that within the first couple of minutes of the game, the first mistake is on his mind, and it's also clicked straight into players that we've now lost our number one keeper. We're 1-0 down, and either way you should be coming back from that anyway, and we just got a batter in midweek. Could that game against Brighton be a hangover from? Because you weren't bad against Munich.
We were better against Bayern than we was against Brighton, and we got torn apart towards the end.
Yeah, for the first half hour, 40 minutes. For the first half, you were probably the better side.
Yeah.
And to go toe to toe with a side like Bayern Munich is a great thing for anyone to do. And then the second half, it was just like you press, you made it difficult for them. And the second half, you just went and just let them do what they want.
I think the Bayern game, I felt we were in the game until the last 10 minutes. They had 3 shots on goal, and they've scored 3. There's not much really anyone can do about that. And all of a sudden, you go from a respectable scoreline to a bit of a joke of a scoreline.
Yeah.
But to come back to your point regarding the Brighton game, yes, Hugo could have done a lot better with the cross. Got to tip it over the bar or punch it clear. Probably tip it over the bar and we reset from the corner. But, like you say, lost your goalkeeper and you're 1-0 down inside 3 minutes. Yes, it's not ideal. However, where are our leaders in the team to rally round each other and go, right, come on, let's get playing. Let's stick to our game plan that we've got and let's go and just play. Yes, we're 1-0 down, but just play how we have been accustomed to under Pochettino and, try and go for the win. But it wasn't that at all. There was just nothing from anybody. No leaders, no fight, no desire, no passion, no nothing in that Brighton game. It was the worst Tottenham performance. I mean, I've seen some dross at Spurs.
Yeah.
And that is up there with it. I've seen us lose twice in 3 years at home to Man City, 5-1. And we played better then than we did against Brighton.
There seemed to be a lack of fight in that Brighton game. I think that was the standout point. Because no matter what, when a Poch side has stood out, like you look at his first 2 years, 3rd and 5th for pressure regains and pressure sides and making it hard for sides to play, and it's dropped off over the years, but there seems to just be a lack of fight.
That performance against Brighton gets managers sacked.
Yeah.
That performance gets managers sacked, 100%. That's just not acceptable by anybody's standards at all. If I coach an under 12 under 13 sides, and if they played like that, I'd be fuming.
Yeah.
I'd be fuming because that's not acceptable. This is a team that is under Pochettino that has consistently, barring his first season, consistently finished in the top 4. Yes, we got to a Champions League final last season, but that's obviously been and gone. I don't know now what Tottenham's expectations are, but you're looking at it and you're going, that's not right. Something clearly isn't right, and I don't know if it is because of the players that we've mentioned that wanted to leave. Even Serge Aurier is another one that's come out and said he wanted to go. I think most fans would be happy if he went and would take him, drop him off anywhere, even on his head. There's players there, obviously now, that don't want to be there, but they've got to be professional enough to go, right, I haven't got my move, I'm going to knuckle down, and I'm going to play and do my best and give 100% at the very least for the team that I'm playing for at the minute.
We speak about Serge Aurier, got sent off against Southampton, and you're thinking, first few minutes of a game against Bayern, don't do anything stupid. The first thing basically he did was turn Alaba into a surfboard.
Yeah.
He, as we said a couple of weeks ago, he's a walking red card. He is actually dangerous.
Yeah, I mean...
And when you have a player like that, it also makes the rest of your team on edge. Because if you go down... Obviously, you went down 10 men against Southampton and brought it back. Then you're constantly thinking, he's going to do something that could put the rest of us in jeopardy.
Yeah.
But I think if he had probably been sent off against Bayern, you probably wouldn't have conceded 7 goals.
No, I think, Aurier come in, had a reputation, Hasn't lived up to it at all. Absolute loose cannon, and whatnot, and just isn't at the level that we need and that we require. Don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Ori AJ?
Oh, I'm glad you've asked. I'm glad. So, my thoughts on him: how he's a professional footballer who's played for PSG and us is a joke. I would be sending him to prison for fraud. He's a joke.
His agent is a madman.
Like, that's the thing. You look at it, you think, right, you need to have a big game. You've put us in big trouble against Southampton. We managed to win. You're lucky. Against Bayern, obviously, the thing with that's a joke. I won't. But he was at fault for at least
four.
From what? Yeah, 3-4 goals. How can you be at fault for 3 or 4 goals in a match? And for the 7th one, because I was sat sort of like in the south stand, so we was defending this. Well, not really defending, but we was, you know, Bayern was scoring in this goal. And the last goal, the ball came over, and it was obviously Gnabry. I still have nightmares. So he was coming. Serge Aurier, that's your man. You'd think he'd be busting the gut to try and prove people. No, he's literally walking. Toby's having to chase him. Obviously, he's not going to catch up with him. And I just lost it, because I'm like, how on earth are you playing for us and you don't give, you don't care?
Yeah.
You're literally walking back. You've been at fault for these goals, and you just look like you don't care. You should be proving people.
Let's talk about that Bayern game just quickly, because I think we spoke about it the other week.
Yeah, let's please talk about it quickly.
So you look at it, if you add the obviously penalty onto expected goals, it was 2.1 to 2.1. So it was an equal game, but Bayern scored an outrageous couple of goals from Lewandowski. The ball from
Kimmich's goal, by the way.
Kimmich's been learning off Coutinho. That is an absolutely outrageous finish. Thiago Alcantara's ball into Gnabry is great.
But mate, where do you want it? Where do you want it, and I will put it there.
Mate, like wizardry there. Like they obviously, of course, expected goal. This is one of the games that expected goals doesn't actually work on, saying that it should have been an even game.
Yeah.
When you look at the score, but first, as I said, first half, you were probably the better side. Start of the second half, you were still good. Then as the second half went on, you sort of died out. Obviously, you were both there.
Yes.
I've been there when Bayern have torn Arsenal apart, so
I'm glad you mentioned that. Some Arsenal fans seem to have short memories.
Yeah, we have very short memories. We started calling for Wenger to come back already. There you go. That's a smile back in it. So, obviously, as fans in the ground, what was your thoughts of your team's performance and obviously individual players other than Aurier? Because
I could talk about him all day.
Going back to the first episode, 3 hours long.
Yeah, so first half we were good, but you should be scoring more. Like, so we've had the chances. If you look at it, what did they do? They got chances, they took them. What have we done? Got chances, missed them.
Yeah.
Son could have had a hat trick. Ndombele probably should have scored. That's and if you get a couple of them, the game's a completely different game. My thought as well, that goal just before half time changed the game. If they don't score that second goal just before half time, that game they might not even win, because then if you remember, like from the start of the second half, we weren't too good, because then we conceded 2 goals straight away. We went 4-1 down. So then we're like, oh, now we've got to proper chase. At 2-1, or even not 1, you're still right in the game. That affected it, and then obviously you're chasing it, you get to 4-2, and then I think then Poch was like, look, we have to go for it, and then it just got embarrassing. That's my view. I think certain players looked okay in parts, but didn't do enough if you look at it in depth. At times, Dele looks, he's doing a couple of nice passes, nice flicks. Then did he have a great game? No. You look at Son, he scored, but the chances he missed. Do you know what I mean? one of the only players I probably wouldn't say anything bad about that game was probably Lloris. He couldn't really do anything about any of the goals.
Yeah, those
pick them
goals
up.
are just
Get it back to the centre quicker.
I think for me, coming out of that game, that was the most ruthless performance I've ever seen from Bayern Munich. It was the most ruthless I've ever seen.
yeah.
To have, like I say, in the last 10 minutes, you have 3 shots and you score. That's ridiculous. I mean, Thiago hit one over in the 90th minute, and I went, bloody hell, they've missed one. Like, it was just an onslaught towards the end of the game. Like I say, first half, really, really good game. Quite even, chances either side, I think. But, we could have had the game wrapped up, really, by half-time. If Ndombele takes his chance, Son had a couple. I think the Kane one where he tried to go around Neuer, I think that's a big chance as well. So then you're going in at half-time, 2-1 down. I think, like you said, the goal before half-time wasn't ideal, but you're still thinking, right, look, boys, we're still in this game. Like, yeah, all right, it's just come at a bad time, but we can still get something out of this. We can still go on and even win the game. And then second half, it was like you say, go to 4-1 down, and you're there going, this could get embarrassing, or they could rally round and get a bit of a respectable result. We get the penalty, contentious or not, definitely falls in the seen and given category. 4-2, you're thinking, right, okay. And then we were pressing forward right, okay, looks like we could make it 4-3, and then who knows after that.
Yeah.
But then, like I say, Bayern just took it to that
Next
other
year.
level. But the thing is, as well, in that game, Thomas Muller didn't get on the pitch.
Yeah.
And that's the frightening thing. They've scored 7, and Thomas Muller hasn't even got on the pitch. They're bringing off Perisic off the bench, they're bringing Thiago off the bench, they're bringing Javi Martinez off the bench, and it's like, how are most clubs in Europe meant to really sort of compete with that level of squad depth, let alone Tottenham?
Yeah.
So, yeah, looking at it, I think for me it got worse as the days went on going towards the Brighton game, because after the game I was thinking, listen, this is Bayern Munich, alright, we've got smashed 7-2 at home, but they were just ruthless.
Yeah.
And as the days went on, I sort of felt a bit worse.
Yeah, because we did the podcast just before the game against Brighton. We spoke about obviously talking about doing a Tottenham one, and you went, I don't want to do it too close after the Brighton game because I have a dodgy feeling. And you even messaged me on the way back from Brighton going, it's gonna be hard. I told you but I didn't see the Brighton game coming. Like the score wise, I thought your players would go, okay, we've been trounced at home by Bayern, but didn't play that badly. We got to go out there and show the fans what they should see and actually do something for them.
I did have a bit of a weird feeling coming into Brighton. I just think that's the thing, it was the way it happened in the last 10 minutes against Bayern, how no one really came out and said too much about the sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think I was just thinking, this is just seems a bit, they just feel like, oh look, let's just put it under here sort of thing. But I didn't think it would be as bad as what it was against Brighton.
No.
I could see us,
No.
I don't know, in my head I was thinking, look, it could be one of them games where you lose 1-0, where you've done all right, but you still end up losing a game like that. But I was coaching, and I literally, at the end of the game, I thought, oh yeah, I literally got my phone out as soon as I could, had a look. And I went, what? It's 2-0 at half time, and I didn't even know Lloris had been off injured or anything till I got in my car. I was like, and I was just like, no, this is. And as soon as I saw 2-0, I was like, this could be.
I thought for the Brighton game, coming off the back of the Bayern game, you sort of go in, right, if we can just scrape a 1-0 win, I'll take that. Get in, get it done, get out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I could go on and on and on about the Brighton performance, and I think I've already have done already. Nobody saw the performance. I think is the key. Nobody saw the performance coming. Score lines, you can, you get freak results.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get City obviously losing to Norwich, and even on Sunday losing to Wolves. So I know Wolves isn't much of a freakish result because Wolves are, at least in Europe, but the Norwich one was definitely a freak result.
Yeah.
And United have had a couple of freaky results already this season. So freaky results happen, but performances don't necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, they don't go sort of hand in hand. Because I think, like you said, it can be one of those games where you do everything you can, but you just can't score.
Yeah.
But we didn't even look like scoring.
Yeah, it's like I was at work during the game, and my missus texted me going, "Brighton are beating Spurs 3-0," and I went, "You're joking!" I went outside, checked my phone, I was like, "Oh," like but to concede 10 goals in 4 days is rare at the best of times. And then I was there like, something must, because obviously there's been rumours that come out that Poch apparently locked the team in the dressing room till after midnight and won't let anyone leave. And if that is true, you know what some players are like, they'll start pointing the finger going, you're to blame, or arguments will start appearing.
That's the thing, I don't think that happens in Tottenham's changing room.
That's what I thought as well. Like, that's not, because you look at that Spurs team, they fought for this manager, they fought for each other all the way through. But then with a couple of the tricky results that they've had, like obviously Southampton was tricky, lost to Leicester. Obviously quite lucky against City when they had 30 shots. Arsenal had around 20 something shots against you lot. There's been performances where certain players haven't performed to the high standards, and normally you'd have back in the day where someone would call you out and go, look, you need to step up your game. Could that have happened? And then maybe it's affected a couple players' morale going into this game.
I don't envisage anything like that happening at Tottenham.
Literally.
I don't see. I mean, you've got Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Lloris is a bit of a calming influence in the dressing room, led to believe. You've got Harry Kane, who's probably the only one that I can really sort of see digging someone out. I don't think Toby, I don't think Jan will, despite the fact they're very senior players. I think Danny Rose would. Obviously, Danny Rose didn't particularly play against Brighton. Dele would tell you what's on his mind. He doesn't need an invitation. But I think there's a few there that will hide.
But do you think you need that in your dressing room where someone can step up?
100%.
So if they have been locked in the changing room until midnight and then no one said anything, is Poch then look at you going, who are my actual leaders in this squad?
But the thing is, I seriously doubt that's happened.
Yeah.
I can't even see Pochettino locking him in. I think at times.
I think
I just think at times he doesn't put them under enough pressure at times. That I love Pochettino, and obviously I don't want him to go. You know that.
Yeah.
But like obviously people have asked me questions like, oh, if he does go, what sort of manager would you like, and so on. And I went, well, someone who's going to put them under a bit more pressure if they're not doing well. Someone who's a bit more braver and so on. I can't see him keeping them in there till midnight, personally.
I think he is very... Pochettino strikes me as a manager that's a very, very calm manager. You know, even after the Bayern game, he said, look, there's not much point in speaking because the emotions are still raw.
Yeah. So, exactly.
So, you know, he'd rather wait until the next day. Now, that's got that can either work because, you know, they're sort of saying, right, well, you know, it's giving them a little bit, like, overnight to get over it a little bit. You know, we come in the next day, right, what is it that happened? Obviously, next day usually will be a team meeting anyway. But then it can also go the other way, and that it appears that it has, because the players have gone, you know, the players could go, oh, he's let us off with that.
Yeah.
Lovely. Gaffer's let us off. Brilliant. No. You need to sort this out.
Yeah. Because, like, I personally don't think he would have done that.
No.
But you look back at it, like, historical managers that have always won stuff like a Fergie, will point Fergie out, will blast someone when they need to be blasted.
Or like Mourinho as well.
Mourinho's done it time and time again.
But the problem with a Mourinho is he'll do it in the press as well. Where that's why I like Poch's way, because he'll keep the players, he'll take the blame, and then you'd like to think he'd go to the player and go, you need to step your game up, you need to do this, you need to do that. Because don't forget, yes, he is a coach, but he's also a person that can just try and get the best out of his players. We've seen it over years of getting the best out of quite mediocre, like Bentaleb, Mason.
How we got 30 million, nearly 30 million for Bentaleb and Mason, by the way.
Yeah,
I've got no idea.
Right. Danny Rose, Trippier, like he's got the best out of those players by being that person that can possibly put an arm around the shoulder and go, this is what you could have, this is what you can do.
I agree with that, but I think at times you can be all loving and caring, but at times I think, oh yeah, I'll defend you, I'll take the blame, I'll take the blame. Oh well, I can have a really bad game and manager will be like, oh yeah, it's my fault.
You saw that at the end of Wenger's tenure at Arsenal as well.
And as you said with like Mourinho, obviously with the press conferences, I think it could actually get a reaction. Say if he came out and went, say if someone, oh yeah, no, so and so had, let's say Aurier had a bad game, because let's face it, that's going to happen. Yeah, he did. But then again, he has sort of actually said something, hasn't he? In relation to right back, he went, oh yeah, no one's convinced me. So that's obviously Walker Peters, Aurier.
What are your thoughts then on the Walker Peters situation? Because for me, it's so strange that you have a right back here who, yeah, but the thing is, Carl Walker Peters represents his country at youth level, at pretty much every youth level, and when he's fit and available, still struggles to get into the Tottenham team. And as you mentioned, that Sissoko's been hoisted out to right back. Foyth has been hoisted out to right back. Yes, Foyth's probably has done all right at right back, but the point is, why are you trying to shoehorn players into positions when you've got somebody that's available and just waiting for a chance?
So I personally think, because if you look at Sissoko and Walker Peters, you put them side by side, Sissoko's a lot bigger, stronger. I think he's sort of thinking, right, I want someone who's a bit more physically stronger, a bit more so on. Walker Peters, I wouldn't say, if you look at the games what he's played this season, he hasn't been like the worst player on the pitch.
I think even in his time at Tottenham,
he's never been the worst player on the pitch. He's done, but then again, like, I remember he got 4 assists against Brighton, or 3 assists or something. Obviously, they weren't all like spectacular assists. One of them was actually sideward pass, but like, he isn't a bad player. But for Poch, it must be something in training or something. I don't know, because in matches, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be that bad personally. But I personally also think Foyth is his first choice right back. In Pochettino's mind, Foyth is going to be the right back this season because obviously he is back now.
Yeah.
He's now playing. He's obviously gone off to international duty, and he played against Germany. Apparently, he had quite an alright game. So I personally could see him starting against Watford, and in some ways I would quite like that to see. If he is, because when he played there last season for a little bit, he'd seemed quite good. I think, and because he's quite calm, collected. He has got a good defensive side. Obviously, he can be a bit rash, but then when he was rash was mainly against Wolves, and he was digging out another player.
Yeah.
But I think he does have that side a little bit. It's nowhere near as bad as Aurier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Poch really has a liking for him, and I do as well. I quite like Foyth. I think he could actually become a good player. And obviously he has got that track record of putting centre backs out there. Obviously, he's put Eric Dyer out there before for pretty much a season, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So I think Foyth's going to be our right back this season. And with the Walker Peters, I just don't think he's impressed him in training personally. I think that must be it. Or unless if Walker Peters in the summer was like, look, I wouldn't mind going because of. And then in Pochettino's mind, his head. Well, then again, do you know what I mean? With a player who isn't a fixture in the team, to come in and say that's completely different to
a first team, full first team.
That's my views.
But then we fought hard to keep Carl Walker Peters because there was interest from Brighton, Palace, interest from abroad as well. So we fought hard to keep him, and yet he's being he's non-existent.
That's because we don't really have a right back. That's the reason I think. I personally think, say if we'd have signed a right back, one of Aurier or Walker Peters would have gone. Whatever one bids came in for, or if it was a loan for Walker Peters. That's my view. Obviously, I like Walker Peters, but I'm just thinking, because there is something there, because it is weird, but yeah.
He is a good player. You touched on the Pochettino situation. A lot of people are asking the question about him at the moment. my personal feeling is he'll stay, do the season out. Depends where you finish. Might go off to maybe a Madrid. I don't think you'll go to United because that's just a step down in club now, isn't it? What are your thoughts? Will Poch be there, say, start of next season?
I'll let you start with this one.
I personally can't see him going anywhere. Say if we go and lose to Watford, and then who do we have after Watford? We've got Red Star Belgrade.
Yeah.
Say if we lose them two, which I personally don't think is going to happen, then yeah, I could see it. But I don't think it's going to get to that stage. Because one, he obviously came out in a press conference and said, "Oh, technically, I'd like to be here for 5 more years, so and so." You don't just come out and say that. If you're sort of thinking, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go," but obviously I don't want people to say that. But no, my head's here. You don't go saying, "Oh yeah, 5 years" and so on.
Yeah.
Him and Daniel Levy, they have a really good bond relationship. Like Pochettino also said, he counts him as a friend, not just his chairman. Obviously, and it isn't down. The performances aren't down to Pochettino. From what I've seen, the bad ones, it is the players who aren't picking up and pulling away. Like, one thing I would say, he's been too stubborn with this diamond formation. We said it, wasn't working from the Villa game.
Yeah.
We said it wasn't working. We could see that. He stuck with it, literally up until the Brighton game.
And I think even at times there, he
was trying it.
Yeah.
And
he
it
even
just
went to 3 at the back against Brighton.
exactly. And I think he's started to I think at Brighton he's like, oh, actually. So whether or not now he does change it, and if he does, thank goodness. And I think we could start to see something else. Because I know the players that don't think particularly like that. Because Sissoko came out and said, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing. And yeah, but that's the one thing with, and I think he should be playing the players who. He should be a bit brave with his team selection at times, like as in, we've got Eriksen here, he can perform absolute magic at times.
Yeah.
He hasn't done well lately. He wants to go. Oh, let's put him in.
Yeah.
Maybe put in Lucas instead of Eriksen or something like that, because I don't know, something like that, because I just think if he then makes a statement from doing something like that, some of the other players whose heads are fully there might be like, oh, okay, I quite like that,
But then, did he not try that in the early part of the season by dropping Eriksen against Villa?
Yeah.
Jan didn't play for a few games.
Yeah. But
and had to come back in really against Arsenal, and yes, put in a great performance, but it was needs must really. So
I think with Eriksen it's a bit different now, like because Eriksen since the Villa game he didn't start against Bayern, but he has started majority. Has he done anything since the Villa game?
Not particularly.
And I just think he gives players a little bit too much time if they're not performing well. I think he, little things where he can maybe be a bit more ruthless, but obviously there is something with Lucas Moura where he doesn't seem to play that much. He's always on the bench, and the thing is, I'm not obviously he's a legend in for what he's done.
Yeah.
But even for me, I'm like when I see him in a team, I'm like, oh, I don't. Do you get that same feeling?
I think
in a way, like you're thinking, I like him, but then when he's in a team, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
He's not like your Harry Kane where you put him in a team and you're there like he's gonna do something.
Exactly, like he runs, he works so hard, he's fast, he can score, but there's something in my head.
So for me, I want to pick up your point on the diamonds, and I think Poch is playing it to try and get the best out of Harry Winks. Personally, because I don't think you can play Winks in a midfield 2 alongside an Eric Dyer. And I was saying this to somebody the other day, because Winks loves to drop in and get on the ball. Eric Dyer likes to drop in and get on the ball. You have 2 midfielders that love to drop in and get on the ball, all of a sudden, and drop into the back line, you're going to have a back 6, realistically. So I think in order to try and get the best out of Harry Winks, you need him as that deep pivot at the base of the diamonds and get on the ball and spray it. And I think Harry Winks' game has come on massively since he first broke into the team. You get the legs around him with Sissoko, but then I don't trust Sissoko in a midfield too because he's not good enough, and whatnot. And Dombele I don't think is just there yet to trust in a midfield too. I think we will get there with him, but just not yet. And then I think actually his range of passing can be quite similar to Winks's in the threading through, and whatnot. Eriksen, I mean, he's the one that can literally, like you say, produce something out of nothing, and has done over his time at Spurs with late goals, passes, assists, everything like that. And then it's just a case of who's going to play in the tip of the diamond. Lamela doesn't suit it. Dele doesn't really suit it because, I know Dele, we know Dele breaking from deep, what he done when he did play as a 10, but I think that was when he had two outlets out wide. Can we play with Sonny and Lucas out wide? I don't think we can. And then somebody pointed out to me as well, with Lucas, is that when he doesn't score, what else does he do? And that might come onto your point where you're a bit unsure on him. And that might be why Poch doesn't have that absolute faith in him to start him all the time, because he doesn't really assist. I think he's got one assist or something crazy like that since he come to Spurs.
Crazy.
Obviously, he has scored important goals for us, and we, the Ajax away, none more so than that. But yeah, the diamond I don't think suits. But then what do we go with a back three, and have say a back three of Alderweireld, Sanchez, Vertonghen, or do we go to a 4-2-3-1? Obviously, Dyer's just coming back from injury. I think Pochettino has lost faith with Wanyama, who, when we were in the last season at White Hart Lane as we know it, was immense. Victor Wanyama was my player of the year, 100%. I thought he was unbelievable that year. And almost showed Eric Dyer how to be a holding midfield player. Injuries, I think, have since caught up with him. And I don't think Pochettino trusts him. But Tottenham aren't in a situation where we can really go, as I mentioned earlier, we can't really just fob players off. And I think that's why he's having to keep faith with Eriksen, especially because we don't have another player like that. Lo Celso could be that player, and I think will be that, but he's only on loan and is injured. So, what do we do? Where do we go from here? Kind of thing. Do I think the gaffer will be at Spurs by next season? No, I don't. I honestly don't think he will. I think, when he come out and said, with the Champions League fight, if we win the Champions League, I'm done.
Yeah.
I would have gone fair play, because he's come out and said, I want to win a Premier League, I want to win a Champions League with Tottenham, to put my name in and amongst legends kind of thing, and that would have done. And realistically, it's not going to get much better than that for Tottenham. We have to be realistic about that. We're not good enough to win the Premier League. We're miles off City and Liverpool, in the way that they've just gone at the minute. So I don't know if that's affected the players, because they're going, well, he could have been off. Now he wants me to run through brick walls for him, when he could have easily gone. That's something, again, that could be up for discussion. But I think Poch has then thought, right, we've lost it. Give me a season to try and do something with it. I don't think he'll be there. Who do I want to come in then if he does go? That's an awkward question.
Well, there's been reports, obviously Allegri's been out of the game for a little bit. Apparently he's learned English because United and Spurs are tipped for him as a next destination, one of the two. Let's face it, Spurs is probably the bigger club right now. Well, not probably, they are the bigger club than United. United are a mid-table side as it stands, but United have that historical side about it.
Man United will always have a pull for any manager and any player, because it's Man United, one of the biggest institutions in football.
History, yeah.
Like you say, the history, the constant winning of different titles, everything like that. Pochettino, what he's done at Tottenham is taken us from a club that, is Europa League, round of 32, last 16, if that, and then has taken us to, if we finish in the top 4, unbelievable season, well done, give yourself a pat on the back. Now we expect to finish in the top 4.
Yeah.
And again, somebody pointed out to me, all right, they've been in their jobs a similar time, but Klopp at Liverpool didn't have to change a mentality at Liverpool because they'd already had a sort of winning mentality. They were used to winning things. Yeah, they've gone just went for a bit of a spell where they hadn't won a lot of things. But you got to remember, but you got to remember as well. Not long before Klopp took over, Liverpool finished second in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Whereas Pochettino's had to take the club, change the mentality, change everything, and has done it, inside 6 years, which has been unbelievable. Who is going to come in though, and work under the restrictions and the way that Tottenham is run? Because Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is run a certain way.
Yeah.
And Mourinho's not going to do it. Mourinho's going to kick up a fuss if we don't sign 29 to 31 year olds, which isn't really club policy anyway with regards to recruiting players. I know we signed Llorente under Pochettino. I think that was a bit of an anomaly, and whatnot. So I can't see Mourinho coming in and being, I will work for you, Daniel Levy. I think they'll fall out within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Allegri won't work under those restrictions either, because he's used to, AC Milan. They were one of the top clubs in Italy. They still are a massive club, but they've fallen a little bit. And then he's gone to Juventus, where he's just used to winning everything and having who he wants come through the door. So then you're left, right, well, who else? I don't know. Is it going to have to be somebody like an Eddie Howe or a Nuno or someone like that? Maybe a Brendan Rodgers. But then again, are they going to want to work under the restrictions? I think Tottenham now is a much more attractive proposition than it was.
Yeah.
Thanks to Pochettino, because it's not, it's Tottenham. It's Tottenham. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that Poch has done, because a lot of people are like, this is a Spurs crisis recently, which is a joke, by the way, because I remember you lot having a crisis and finishing 15th.
That was a decent season, by the way.
Right, and now you lot are in crisis 8 games into a season.
Yeah, I think the last time we had something similar like that was under Juan de Ramos, but that just come off the back of winning something. It's slightly different. But again, we have to be careful, because the last person that we had in charge of our football club that made us fall back in love with the team was Harry Redknapp, right? We sacked him, brought in AVB, and it turned into a mess.
Yeah.
So if we do get rid of Pochettino, we have to be careful of who's going to come in, and are we going to end up in a mess like we was beforehand? But like I said, don't know who's... There's going to be plenty of managers that will want the job, of course. But are they going to want to work? They'll work for Tottenham, but will they work for Daniel Levy? And that's the big difference.
It's quite interesting what you've just said. Because I've been thinking about it. People have gone, but if he does go, who would you want? And a bit controversial, but I have said I wouldn't mind Mourinho. Because I think you either want someone who's going to play the good football, I think in Eddie Howe, or, but my problem is we've got so close to winning something. We on the sort of brink.
Yeah.
You need, if you're that close, get someone who's going to win you something. If you get Mourinho, there's a good chance. Even if it's an FA Cup League, he'll win you something.
Yeah.
And that will then change the mentality in the club. We've won something now. We like that.
I think it will change the perception as well.
Exactly. And I think, and what you've said about not working for Daniel Levy and everything with Mourinho, we've got the new stadium now. We've got the new training ground. What needs to be done now? The team. That's it. And I think Daniel Levy, I think we're starting to notice. Obviously, we've gone and sort of Obviously, we've said Lo Celso's a loan, but an obligation to buy, 55 mil. We've got Ndombele. How much was it? 63?
Yeah.
63. But that's two in a window, pretty much. I know obviously that Lo Celso one won't go all the money, but do you know what I mean? I think he is starting to notice that, and I think this season, him seeing this, we're like, oh, things do need to change. I'm going to need to start
But
doing
then
such and such.
I think with Mourinho coming in, first season we'll get, maybe we might win something, or we'll get fairly close. Second season, more than likely win something. Third season,
explosion,
rumblings, and then he's gone. Usually,
Yeah.
that's what happens with. So Mourinho's not a long-term.
Yeah, I agree with
manager.
that, but that's my view. I think.
But then, again, we had a similar situation when Sherwood left, and it was, or even when Harry Redknapp was sacked. We could have gone for a Laurent Blanc at the time, Frank de Boer, who had won titles with Ajax. We could have gone for somebody like that, and we ended up with AVB and then Sherwood, and then again it was, right, who do we get in? Do we get a high-profile manager, Van Gaal, or whatever, and we ended up with Pochettino.
And there was question marks on Pochettino at the start. One name that I personally, I'd like to see him at maybe at Barcelona one time.
Wenger, go on.
Erik ten Hag at Ajax.
Yes.
He's a great manager. I think he's cut from a pretty different cloth when it comes to certain managers. Obviously, Barca, I think they're going to get him because they've got that Ajax ties.
Yes.
Which is just a fixation of their own imagination. If you were to get in someone like him, would you be happy?
Well, seeing Ajax last season, I don't think anybody would go, "No, you're right." I think, I think the basis of the squad was pretty much there anyway. But some of the Champions League semi-final, the first leg, that was one of the best team performances I've ever seen. The way Ajax moved that ball was ridiculous, and we could not get near them. And I think it actually took, for Vertonghen's head injury, for us to sort ourselves out and go, right, okay. I think Poch admitted he sort of got it wrong by going with the back three, but I think that was pretty much all we had at the time. And but yeah, obviously, Ajax and Dutch clubs in general have this thing of developing players, selling them on. It's what they do. So, that's the nature of the league and the clubs in there, and they sort of accept that. I think he'd be a good fit. I think because playing style, will he bring a philosophy like Pochettino has in terms of bringing through young players? Ajax and Dutch clubs have to do it all the time, so that wouldn't really be too much of an issue for him. But I do take Joe's point in that we've been close. Now it's how do we get over the line, and the only man that is available probably for that is Mourinho. But then, are we going to see parking buses away at, and double deckers away at, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Man City?
You've got to think, you want to win titles, but you want to be an attractive proposition for players to come in. If you're playing a Mourinho style of football,
Players will work for Mourinho.
Yeah, but is someone who wants to come out and play free and expansive football realistically going to want to go and play quite a structured setup style?
I think nowadays you play for managers and not clubs. So I think the reason why City are attracting players that they are is because of Guardiola.
Yeah.
It's not like because of the history there, is it?
Well,
you know what I mean?
You look at that pay packet that you might
Yeah, obviously, but
yeah, you get paid handsomely, but ultimately you're there because of Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, that's good.
I think before, you've got players like Lescott talking about projects and everything like that. He was getting paid very, very well as well. So I think he has to mention projects. I think you play for managers now. Ceballos signing for Arsenal. Ceballos has seen Unai Emery's work before and goes, actually he'd be a good manager to work for and work under. Again, players signing for Liverpool because of Jurgen Klopp. You know, I mean, United's slightly different. I think United have just got the pull because of his history and not because of Ole. You know, Chelsea at the minute will have the pull because of Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
Alright, they can't sign anybody, but if and when they do, I mean, at Derby, he was getting loan players in, and it's, I'm going to play for Frank Lampard, not I'm going to play for Derby.
Yeah.
So I think you play for managers rather than clubs these days, and I think, you know, if we were to get Mourinho, we wouldn't have a problem attracting players.
Yeah.
If we were to get Allegri again, we wouldn't have a problem attracting players. Nuno would be one I'd quite like to see, to be honest, because I think the way he's got Wolves not only playing at the minute, but the way he speaks, the way he comes across is, I mean, you know, I don't know if I know he did work under Mourinho at Porto, but he has got that, almost that winner's mentality and that elitist mentality.
That's one that we'd have to get onto a different podcast because of how structured Wolves are with Nuno and obviously Jorge Mendes. Obviously, him being Jorge Mendes' first ever client that's followed the Jorge Mendes route of football. Of every club Jorge Mendes has been involved with, he's basically been at. So that one I'd have question marks over with Nuno, but not gonna lie, no matter who you get in next, you're still gonna be in and around minimum top 4. You've gone from a mid-table club 5-6 years ago to, especially over the last 12 to 18 months, one of the better teams in Europe. Obviously getting to a Champions League final, being pretty consistent in games, in league seasons. Like, yeah, you probably could have won the league when Leicester won it, but so could Arsenal.
Glad you mentioned that, because you went top on Valentine's Day, didn't you?
Yeah, so proper loved that day. But like, you're going to be a big club for the next few years anyway, no matter who you get in, because you've just got a new stadium, you've got new infrastructure, and you've got very good players, even if some of them aren't performing to their potential at the moment. Like, as of well with you, Harry Kane, his shots have dropped off and injury seems to be picking up with him, so he's changed his style of play.
I think the service into him hasn't been great either, so that's probably why.
Exactly. And then you look, when Dele's fully fit, you're going to see a different style there. You're going to see more for Spurs happening because they'll have the out with him there. If Eriksen gets his head down and goes, I need to actually perform to my qualities to get a move, you could still have a decent season. It's not all doom and gloom at Spurs.
That's the thing, like, it's not good at the minute, we all know that, but who's in top 4 at the minute? So it's obviously Liverpool, City,
Leicester, Arsenal.
That's the thing, like,
you've got Palace and West Ham also in the top 6.
Exactly. Like,
well.
I'm not being like, Palace, West Ham, they're going to drop off.
Yep.
Leicester are a bit worrying. I think they're still, you're not, you know what I mean?
We're not really assigned, we're just there.
Like, I don't know, I'm not too convinced by you yet. Obviously, that's a bit rich coming from us at the minute, but do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that as
I
a
wouldn't
Tottenham
put it
fan.
past both North London clubs finishing outside the top 4 if they carry on the way they're going.
But then I wouldn't put it past both of us finishing in the top 4.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. It's a bit of a weird one still.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, say if we go and beat Watford, beat Red Star, okay, we've got a couple of wins now. Look, we are playing, boom, boom,
we still want to look into it.
No, but that's the thing. No, that's these 2 games are crucial. Say if you go and win both of them, okay, look, we can do this. Look, let's go Liverpool with some belief. Could you imagine if we go, I don't know, say if we go and beat Liverpool, I don't know, obviously, no,
we can imagine.
Well, that's the thing,
and
you
we're the
tore
first
them
team to
apart
beat them.
before. You've done them
That
before.
was at Wembley. I mean, our record at Anfield is
anyone's record
horrendous.
at Anfield is
But
horrendous.
still, like,
I think only our record away at the Bridge is
Is
worse than our record at Anfield.
no, obviously, I'm not saying we are going to go and beat them. I want to put that on record. But say if we did, then people are like, oh,
yeah.
okay,
it's a
it's
different
complete.
story.
It's literally flipped on its head. Do you
I
know
think
what I
a
mean?
win
It's
against
not
Watford will be crucial.
That's the thing.
I think, because then all of a sudden it's right. Well, Spurs are, say
Still
we could end up say
6th.
6th, 7th, something like that. And it's like, it's not too bad in terms of comparison of points outside of the top 4. But I think our start to the season, we had some very favourable home games
Yeah.
and some very tricky away games.
Yeah.
But we've not taken the most of the home games. Obviously, losing to Newcastle being a big one. You know, again losing to Brighton away. You know, they're favourable games. The Leicester one could have gone either way, as we know, Joe, we were both there. You know, it could have gone either way. You know, with the VAR decision going against us for a change and not for us. And I think the lads' heads just dropped after that and just went, oh. And then Leicester just capitalised on that. So yeah, the Leicester one could go either way. Obviously, we won away at the KP last season. But yeah, I think our start to the season is a bit hit and miss. But then our form in 2019 has been very hit and miss.
Like 19 losses or something quite poor.
I think it is up to about 19 losses or something, which for any club is not good enough. It's relegation form, really. Yes. And it's just, I think we're just grateful United and even Everton to a certain degree aren't performing. I think United's taken the gloss off of us a little bit, so crack on United, please. So yeah, but in terms of where we're going to finish this season, I did say at the start of the season we'll finish third, but I may have to take a bit of a rain check. On that.
I think we could still get top four. I think we still could get top four, but I'm going to say fourth or fifth.
Yeah.
It can, you know.
I'm saying third or fourth. I'm still quite confident. I'm confident Poch can turn it around with the players that you've got there. And this comes from an Arsenal fan saying you're going to finish third or fourth. So I can
and we've
see
got this on camera as well.
I can see that smile going.
We've got this on camera. You can't wait to turn this into a meme. It's going to be brilliant.
Like you're not a bad side. Yes, you've had some very poor performances or embarrassing performances recently.
Yes.
But yeah, again, it's not 5-6 years ago when you were lucky to finish 8th. You've got United who are atrocious. You've got Everton who don't really have a team. You've got West Ham who have an attack and that's about it, and Fabianski. You've got Palace who have got a couple of quite decent results away from home. You've got Arsenal who are Aubameyang and that's about it. Because
Aubameyang FC.
Sultan Pepe has not turned up yet. It's like Chelsea aren't great at the moment. City aren't great at the moment. The only team that are coming out of this league so far as performing to their potential is Liverpool. So you can look at it and go, yeah, we're not performing to what we expect, but who else is?
Yeah,
I guess so. But I think Chelsea are going to be annoying.
They just season. Always are, though.
I think the players are just starting to. I think they're just starting to click a little bit under Frank, and yeah, it's annoying. Yeah, it is annoying. But yeah, I just think they're just going to start to click. And I mean, I've seen Chelsea a couple of times this season, and you know the way they've played is good. You know, I think Frank's come in and gone, right, okay, this is how we're going to go, and you know, I think it's going to work.
It's also like he would have had that thing that Pep had at Barca, where you were played for the club, you know what the club needs, and young players coming through the academy like your Tammys, your Mason Mounts,
Tomori as well.
Reece James are going to look up and go, he's a legend at this club, top scorer at this club, a lot of appearances, won trophies. What he says actually means something. Yeah,
and obviously a lot of those boys would have grown up watching and probably could have been their favourite player at one point as well. Yeah. And I think that's what's going in Chelsea's favour at the minute.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks guys for today, because I think we need to cut off before you two actually explode. Yeah. You're getting there.
No, was it? We got euphoria, so it's alright. I'm not going to explode. Calm down a bit. Now he's in my head again, so yeah.
So guys, yeah, thank you for watching. Leave a comment, leave a like. Also comment any teams that you want us to look at, maybe United, City, what's going on there. Share it, and thank you.